All right, Shalom, Shalom. First off, give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakar Kradash. Deb honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, the women, the children, and the confusion of face who follow. So, what we've been reviewing the past few weeks, we've been going into Maccabees and the four generals, looking at all the different lands and places that that they conquered, and just really wanted to bring some edification to these areas. And Lord's word is going to be edifying. Um, we're going to start off with this scripture, and then Lord's will, everything falls in place from there.
This is Psalms chapter 49, verse 11. It says, "Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names."
Right. So this is talking about the so-called white man, who, of course, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, and it says they call their lands after their own names. So when you're dealing with, let me pull up my map here. This is the land of that Alexander the Great conquered. So when you're dealing with all these different lands, okay, the original lands are being called by a different name. Okay. Um, Also, uh, we're gonna kind of go into this. Break this down into Asia Minor. Okay, that's what prompted us really. Going over Asia Minor. And one question that I asked myself, okay, is known as Asia Minor, which we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and bring this out. Go ahead.
This is Anatolia. It says Anatolia, also known as Asia Minor, is a large peninsula in Western Asia and the westernmost protrusion of the Asian continent. It constitutes the major part of modern-day Turkey.
Right. So Asia Minor is just the westernmost part of Asia, which is close to Europe. But like I said, the question I was asking myself is, if it's called Asia Minor, what was it called before that? Because as we just read, that they call lands after their own names. All right, and Asia stems from this guy.
Con.
Go ahead.
This is Lucius Cornelius Scipio Asiaticus, or properly
Walk with us now. Go ahead.
Asiagenus. It says,
Asiaticus.
Con. Asiaticus. It says he was a general and statesman of the Roman Republic. He was the son of Publius Cornelius Scipio and the younger brother of Scipio Africanus, from which comes Africa. It says he was elected consul in 190 BC and later that year led with his brother the Roman forces to victory at the Battle of Magnesia.
Right. So if this is where you get the if this is where you get the name Asia from, and this is from the early to the third century BC to 183 BC. Bible shot, bear with me. I got to put my dog up. The water. Hey, Kenna, what? Yo, Kenna, what? You too good. Kenna, what? But what was it called back then? Prior to this conquering, right? It was called Anatolia. So, what happened with Scipio Asiaticus? He had the Battle of Magnesium with Antiochus the Third, Antiochus the Great, with him representing Rome and Antiochus representing the Seleucid Empire. And once he fell, that landmass became a Roman province, pretty much, and then it was known as Asia. And as time goes on and on and on, the whole continent becomes Asia, and the original province of Asia is known as Asia Minor. Okay, or just basically that last outstretch between uh, Asia and Europe, if you will. Let me see. I have another. Yeah, here we go. this area right here. We can go to bam. So we have these lands: Galatia, Pontus, Cappadocia, Lyconium. So when was this name Asia or Asia Minor concocted, or how did it come by? All right, so go ahead and get that.
The term Asia Minor was first used in 400 CE. It says the designation Asia Minor was coined by the Christian historian Orosius in 400 CE to differentiate Asia at large from the part of Asia evangelized by St. Paul.
Right. So when you go back into these places, these are all the places that we read in Acts, right? So let's get that real quick. You can start at, let me see. Start at verse 6.
This is Acts.
Start at verse 5.
This is Acts.
Hold on. Let me buckle shot. Bear with me.
All right. This is Acts chapter 2 and verse 5. It says, "And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men, out of every nation under heaven. Now when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language." And they
right. So what happened was the Holy Spirit jumped on these men, all from different areas, and they're basically speaking their language, but people are hearing it in their language. So he speaks one language, I speak a different language, but when we're speaking and communicating, we're able to do so. Go ahead.
It says, "And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these who speak Galileans?"
Right, unlearned men. So, like, how do these men who never were formally taught know these foreign languages, basically?
"And how hear we every man in our own tongue, wherein we were born? Parthians and Medes and Elamites, and the dwellers in Mesopotamia, and in Judea, and Cappadocia, and in Pontus and Asia, Phrygia and Pamphylia in Egypt, and in the parts of Libya about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, Cretes and Arabians, we do hear them speak in our own tongues the wonderful works of the Most High."
Right. So when you go into the maps and you actually see these places, you see Phrygia and Galatia, Cappadocia and Pontus, Lydia and Lycia, and then let me see, I got a couple more maps. Let me see, Mesopotamia, down here, which that's where our forefathers are from. From this area right here, the so-called Fertile Crescent. Okay, so when you're hearing all these places, it's easy to overlook them because you really don't have any uh, reference to them because the landmarks were removed. Matter of fact, let's go into that real quick.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 19 and verse 14. It says, "Thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in thine inheritance, which thou shalt inherit in the land that the Lord Yahweh thy power giveth thee to possess it."
Right. So when you look at maps of old and you compare them to, maps of new, they're not the same. These places are called by different names. You got Iran, which is Persia. So you can see the Caspian Sea right here, and right southern than that is Iran. And we'll go to this one. We'll see the Caspian Sea right here, and it says Persia, which Persia are the Iranians. So the landmarks have been removed, the names have been removed and changed. So as time goes on, it shows you that pretty much that that everything's been changed, everything's not the same. But it's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. So one thing that I also want to check out is also showing that is, let me see. Oh damn. This. So when you go into the statue of Nebuchadnezzar, is physically showing that evolution. All right, you have the Babylonian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire, which I believe that was probably the map that I really needed. That was the Alexander map, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Let me pull it back up. Bear with me here. Okay, here we go. All right. So Slakia, the statue, the Babylonian Empire, which was taken over by the Medo-Persian Empire. So when you look at that, you have Babylon right here, but it was taken over by Media and Persia, right? But that was taken over by the Greeks, and now the border is not just here or here and here. Now the whole border is all of this, but all of this was taken over by who? By the Romans. So now you have that turning into that. So that's how these borders have been manipulated into something other than we know them today. Let me see. Let's. I wanted to go. We should have got this, but we'll get this, and then we're on the statue right now, so we'll go into the statue.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This is Daniel chapter 2 and verse 36. It says, "This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the Most High of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. And after thee..."
Right, so that's Babylon. Babylon being that head of gold, being, the most prestigious of all. Go ahead.
"And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth."
Right, so it's like I'm just kind of tripping off the picture, kind of got messed up, but we ain't gonna let Satan ruin his party. So the Medo-Persian Empire came second, which was still a beautiful, or quote beautiful, second most beautiful empire, but you can see that they're going lesser and lesser and lesser as time goes forward, but the metals are getting stronger and stronger and stronger because true gold is very malleable. You can bend it easily, and silver a little bit harder, and brass even more hard, right? And then that's where you get the kingdom of Alexander, this brass kingdom, which let me see, is represented on the statue here as Greece. This is Greece. So when they took them over, they had the military superiority against them. Okay, so then as let me see, matter of fact, going back to go ahead and read verse 40.
Okay. It says, "And the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things." And as
Sakia, before we go into that, I want to finish this in Greece in the brass kingdom.
Reading verse 39 again, it says, "And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth."
Right, which was the kingdom of the Greeks, going into Alexander and going into going into this. This is the kingdom of the Greeks. So you have these lands. You have all the same places: Cappadocia, Macedonia, where it originated from, and he conquered going eastward all the way to India. So let's get this in the scriptures.
So starting from verse 1, right?
Okay.
So this is First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 1. It says, "And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth."
Right. That's how he, basically, the scripture says, he removed the landmarks and he took hold of those places. I think they said he had 17 different Alexandrias, calling them after his own name. Go ahead.
It says, "And went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him."
Right. So all these different nations, all these different places were paying him, quote, taxes, or however you want to say, paying him tribute. So that's basically the fulfillment of those scriptures that we just brought up. He's literally calling a land after his own name. He's taking their border and engulfing it into his own, making it his own empire, as we seen showcased in this. You may have been just Mesopotamia or Babylon, but once you get sucked into the empire, now you're just part of the big conglomerate.
Okay.
Bactria, in various places, Egypt. You know, you basically you lose your identity, but you become a province. All right, I'll give you an example. You have we're in Omaha, Nebraska, which is in the United States. All right, the city is Omaha. Our province is Nebraska. Our country is the United States. So give you an example. Let's say you're in, um, let's say Ephesus. Ephesus is in Lycaonia, so the city is Ephesus. Your province is Lycaonia, which you'll have a satrap or a governor over your place, just like there's a governor in Nebraska. Because there's nothing new under the sun. All this is just coming back into reincarnation, if you will.
Okay.
So you have Ephesus and Lydia. I might have said Lycaonia, but it's Lydia, which is in Anatolia, right? Anatolia will be the country, but it's all part of the greater cause, which was the Alexandrian Empire. Okay, so just to give you a snapshot with that. All right, moving on.
Okay. Going to verse 5, it says, "And after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years, and then died. And his servants bare rule every one in his place."
And then that's how you get them chopping up all of his lands. And I should have brought up that. Let's get that. Okay, see if we can get map of the Diadochi. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So let's bring it up. There we go. So now we have this same empire, but it's broken up. And again, they're calling lands after their own names, basically stating that I have claim over this part of the land. The Antiquities had this, and Ptolemy had this. It's still Egypt, so they didn't really change the names of Slakia. That's not accurate. Cassander had this, but this is still considered Macedonia and Greece. Now, this is still Thrace. This is still Syria and Anatolia, so on and so forth.
But if you see, they do have the small places, like in Seleucus' kingdom, he made Seleucia, and like Lysimachus' kingdom, he made like Lysimachia and stuff like that. So,
and then you have Antioch, which Antioch was actually named after Antiochus. So they named cities, but not the whole territory, if you will. Um, yeah, is there anything else that I want to get into? We got into Asia Minor, the different places, how Asia, and I'll just clear this up. Um, Asia Minor is, like I said, just the westernmost part of Asia. If you look at the let me see, the continent, this is Europe and this is Asia. All right, so the border, to the north of the Black Sea is pretty much Russia. The border south of the Black Sea will be Turkey. Now, you can look at maps and it will say that Asia Minor did, extend into Syria. It's, you know, we're dealing with maps over 2,000, years old. So, um, for the most part, from what I'm seeing, is, pretty much just present day Turkey, if you will. Um, that's what I wanted to go into. Okay, I'm glad I clicked on that. Which Turkey is where you had Constantine. He made his empire there because of the land. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Bear with me. Which, damn it. You can kind of see it right here. Yeah, that's there we go. So where you see, uh, right here, this is where Constantine uh, founded Byzantium. Right here, where it looks like two fingers are pointing at each other, because in order to conquer it, you would have to come by water. There's, if you want to try to fight them, you're gonna have to come through water, and this little strait, like, I'll pull up a picture if I still had the picture. I might have. There we go. So you can see they're gonna see you coming from a mile away. So that's why he set up his kingdom over here. It was just a good vantage point. If you look right here, it's right here. So also, you could really get to anywhere from the empire from here as well. You would just go through this. See, what was it called? Myanmar or Mar
Marmara.
Marmara,
Kind of.
right? You then go into the Aegean Sea, and then once you're in the Mediterranean, you got carte blanche. But yeah, there's just a little bit of extra history, a little cherry on top. Which that city today, Constantinople, is current day Istanbul in the nation of Turkey, which was Asia Minor, which was Anatolia. So
Went through a lot of changes over
exactly,
history.
as you can see over the time, these places change the names, but it's still the same places. Lord's Waters was edifying. Did we cover all these scriptures that we had? Daniel's, Acts. Yeah. So with that being said, let's give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakar Double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, the women, the children, and the confusion of faith who follow. Shalom.